Hi, it's Lori from Coast to Coast Craft Girls, coming to you from the West Coast. Um, I recently did a video about how to use, sometimes when you have this beautiful paper and you don't want to cover it up. And this is one of those cases. I love this beautiful butterflies collection paper, the florals with the butterflies on it. So pretty, and so it's really a shame to cover it up. So I had this left over from another project, and I had like half a sheet of my 12 by 12, and I decided I was just going to make a card, a super basic quick card, but showing you how to use just really pretty paper to make a 5-minute card realistically. So got a card blank, I've got my scrap of paper, I cut a little matten layer. This is a 5 by 7, so I do 1/4 inch, so 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, 4 1/2 by 6 1/2. We're just going to glue that down. This side is really pretty too. I always hate to cover up that beautiful double-sided paper. But this is one of those, you need something quick, pull out some of your beautiful papers. Now this particular 12 by 12 sheet has essentially this pattern in every corner. So you could cut it and essentially get 4 cards out of it, just like that. All you got to do, we're going to stamp a little sentiment in there. I've got a birthday sentiment on a rock-a-block. I like the rock-a-blocks for sentiments. And I do like the VersaFine ink for sentiments. I find that it just works really nicely. You can use whatever ink you like. You could heat emboss it if you really, if you wanted to. I just find the VersaFine ink works really well. Just put it on there. And the rock-a-blocks are just great for sentiments. You don't need a ton of pressure. And I felt like that was just a little too plain on there, so I found a butterfly. But you can put it on there. Actually, I might even, yeah, I think I'm definitely going to put that on there. I like it. I am going to kind of curl the wings just a little bit, just to give it a little bit of shape. You don't have to do this. You can glue it on flat, but I like to give just a little bit of shape. Kind of curling it around my pokey tool. And then just put a little bit of glue right down the middle. Get my tacky glue. Get it on there. And you're done. Told you, 5-minute card. Super easy, looks beautiful, and you're just essentially using that beautiful paper to make the most of it. Now here's the other piece of, so I told you I had a 12 by 12 sheet of it, and I had half a sheet left. This is the back side of that same paper. And all I did was I used my little nesting dies, to cut through the card with these two layers on there so that they're perfectly lined up. Then I use the 2 nesting dies to cut myself a little frame, which is going to go on top that way. But when I cut the aperture, I usually use my little dotty tape pen, and I just put like a little piece of tape in each corner so that I can get it apart, and then really glue it good after I've cut the aperture. And the reason I do that is because I don't want to cut it when it's wet, and then just make sure you remember which way it goes. This one goes on there. So you can see that's the back side. That's another one of those beautiful roses, which I could have done the same card, but I decided to do something different. So this one would take a little bit longer. It's not 5 minutes, but it's still pretty darn quick. And you just need a set of nesting dies, paper trimmer, some beautiful paper. I'm going to show you a couple different options for what you could put in the middle. So let's get that on there. And you know, because you cut it together with your nesting dies, that it's going to fit perfectly if you put it on the right way. I obviously didn't get it right in the center. Otherwise it would have fit either direction, but it didn't. Okay, there's that. Now this goes right on top of there. That's that same matte and layer paper that I used with the other card. So I'll just put my matte and layers back the way they were. And now they're nice and stuck down. But see, if I had glued them down with my glue gel or my glue before I die cut them, then you have to make sure that it's really dry. And then if you use, I don't know, that the collal glue that I like to use, the wet glue, it dries really hard. So I don't know if it would make it a lot harder to die cut. I've never tried it. I guess I should try it sometime. See if you can still, it would still die cut through, because my Gemini die cut through all 3 layers with one pass. And these are not multimedia dies, they're just regular nesting dies. There we go. Now, let me pull that out. So I cut this aperture in the middle because I like to put something in the middle. And what I started with was, this is a stamp that I had colored, and you can mount it in the center back there. And that looks fine. I mean, I think it's pretty, and I did a decent job coloring. I'm pretty pleased with it. But I wanted to try something a little bit different. Now, I don't know how many of you have the Decoupage topper pads, but I do love these. And this is the stamp from the Decoupage topper pad that I just stamped and colored and cut out. But I think I'm going to do a decoupage to go in the middle of it. I think that would be really pretty. So let me get a sheet. Oh, and wanted to show you. So this is the decoupage sheet that came. Actually, no, that's one I printed. So this is the decoupage pad. And if you remember, when we got these, we had downloadable files. So I downloaded the file and I printed it. And these are the ones that I printed. So this I printed on photo paper, and this one I printed on some matte paper. And so that's what they look like when you print them. Now I kind of like the the one on the photo paper. Although I think I would have preferred a matte photo paper. That's a glossy. But this is a little bit too matte for me, a little less, too much, like not enough color. I'd almost feel like I'd have to color over it and give it a little more color. And so I don't know if that's my printer or the paper. But anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you. I printed those out in case you were wondering how it works, how they print. I just wanted to try it. I'll get my dies out of here. And then we'll decoupage this all up. Let me cut it. So if you've never used these before, there's a little number 1 here and a 1 there, and you just basically put it so the numbers cover, and then you can kind of slide it a little bit side to side to make sure that it's covering everything, and then make sure you tape it in place, because I'm going to put all of the dies on at the same time, so we don't want those to shift. And then we take the next one. This is number 2, and that's number 2. So you just line it up so the numbers cover. It's pretty clever the way they did this, honestly. I won't say it's 100% foolproof, because, you know, but I could probably mess anything up. But it's pretty foolproof. I mean, it's not hard. It's very easy to do. And they smartly gave you a white border on this one, but these are printed big enough that when you put the dies on them, they cut right up to the edge, so there's no border. So when you decoupage them up, they look great. You can't see those edges. And see, this one, it was kind of over, but see how that's poking out? So you just want to make sure that all of the color part is covered up. Two more to go. So again, line up those numbers and then cover up that so you can't see anything. Oh, and the leaves are all in one. Another piece of tape. Line it up. Make sure you can't see any of the color from anything. And tape it down. And then we're going to run it through. And use my metal shim because I was having, well, yeah, I think I'm going to use my metal shim because I don't know why, but I think because my plates are really getting warped, so it wasn't cutting as nicely as I think it should. My metal shim's pretty warped too. Let's see what they look like. They're definitely all cut because they're falling out. And that's generally what they do, is as soon as you pick it up, like all of the little pieces start to fall out. Just pull the dies off. I'll put them away when I'm done here, but just pull everything off. Poke everything out. And see what I mean around this piece has a nice white border, and these do not. So when you decoupage them up, you won't see any of that border. Oh, that one was on the edge of my plate. Okay, got them all. I'm gonna give it a little bit of shape. Not too much because it's going to be on a flat surface, but give it a little bit. And then you start with, if you look at these, you can kind of tell which way to decoupage them, because you start with sort of the bigger. So this is obviously the bottom piece because it's biggest, and then this goes next because it's got 2 flowers, and then this one's bigger than that one, so it goes on top of that, and that goes on top of that, that goes on top of that, and that one goes on top of that, and then the leaves go on there. They have, I mean, you can follow the numbers if you want, but you really don't need to. It's pretty obvious. And with these, you can use foam pads if you like that, or I personally like the glue gel because I find it easier to work with. And you just kind of set it on there. Don't put, if you push it all the way down, you've lost the whole point of the glue gel because it'll just flatten out. So you don't want to push it too hard. And then you just line them up, stack them up. I have to refill my syringe pretty soon. Oh, that way. Goes on there. And then the bud goes right in the middle. Big glob there. And you basically just line up the pictures. It's pretty simple. The foam pads give you, especially if you use big thick foam pads, I think you can get it thicker, you can get more dimension, but I kind of like the glue gel because it gives it some dimension but not a lot. Now these leaves, I'm not exactly sure where they go, so you just kind of look at the leaf. Like, it looks like, I would guess that one probably goes right there. Yeah, this one, you can see the little pink spots on it and kind of match it up. Maybe it goes right there. Actually, that one I bet goes right there. Yeah, that one might go down here. You don't have to put the leaves on if you don't want. I'm gonna grab my tweezers. Make it easier. So I don't always use the leaves for the decoupage. Just thought I'd do it this time to show you how it works. But the easiest way to decide which one goes where is just to kind of, before you glue it down, lay it on top. A lot of times they're so close to the same that it doesn't really matter where you put them. Like, that one doesn't really go there. I'm not sure where this one goes. We're just going to leave that one off. Now, before you put the lid on, you always push that out so that it's got, see right here where it's just got a little bit poking out, and that'll keep it from drying out. Now, we're going to carefully put that leaf. We're going to carefully put it on the inside and decide where I want it so that it shows through. A little bit of a drop shadow on there. Now again, you could write your message, down here. I'm not sure who I'm going to use that for or what I'm going to use it for, so I'm not going to put a sentiment out. I would probably put a sentiment maybe up here or down here on a little piece of paper. But again, a fairly simple card. not a 5-minute card. This one was definitely a 5-minute card. This one, just because of the decoupage, maybe 15 minutes. But one thing that I do is I make a bunch of the decoupage up ahead of time, and then I have them all set in a file folder. And you can use like the Totally Tiffany Fab Files or whatever, or just little plastic envelopes, Ziploc bags, I mean, manila envelopes, a regular envelope, anything. But if you just kind of line them up, then you've got them all ready to go. Then this could literally be a 5-minute card as well. Hope you enjoyed that. I've got a couple of fun cards today. I love the Masquerade collection and some of the beautiful butterflies paper, and I was just looking through it and I thought, you know, I'm going to try and find some really fun ways to make some projects with those. So here's one that I came up with from the Masquerade collection. You take a piece of card, 7 by 11. You're going to score at 1 inch, 1.5, 2, oops, 2.5, and 3. Flip it around, do exactly the same thing. So 1 inch, 1.5, 2, 2.5, and 3. I've used this design before on Christmas cards, and I thought it would work well with this paper and some of the feathers and the mask and stuff that comes with the Masquerade. And then you just want to sort of accordion fold this like that. And get your bone folder and burnish it really good. It helps if you burnish it, it'll make it easier when you're putting it together. Same on this side. Probably is easier to burnish each time. Just like that. And then we're going to decorate the inside of that with our Masquerade ball collection paper. And I've chosen this one because I think it's absolutely stunning. And then I'm going to matte and layer it on this green. But I'm going to use the mask, and I want to cut I want to use part of the green for the embellishments. So I'm going to gut this paper because it's not going to show anyway. So all right, I'm back. Sorry about that. My dogs went a little crazy last night and had to deal with them, and so I didn't get back to this till this morning, but I got the background paper glued down. And remember, I gutted that paper so that I could use that for die cuts. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a piece of acetate right in the back there. So I've got my acetate. And remember, this has see how cloudy it is? spots because it's still got a film on the one side. A lot of times, and here's how I got that done. I usually get my pokey tool, and I know this is going to be hidden underneath there. So you can just kind of scratch on the corner until it comes up and peel that right back. Now it's nice and clear. Now to adhere this, the easiest way, or the best way I think I've found, is with my red liner tape. I like to just put some red liner tape down the edges here. So we're going to do that, and that makes it the easiest and most secure. But you want to kind of keep it right along the edge. I mean, you got an inch because it's going to go along underneath that inch flap, but you don't want to risk it coming out. So, and remember, when you put red liner tape on, you got to burnish it down really good so that when you peel it off, it doesn't peel the tape and everything off. It just peels the backing off. So let me get my red liner tape down now. Get it burnished down good. And then sometimes if you take your pokey tool, you can get it to peel that top off. And then I like to stick just a little bit of wet glue down the center, really just because it helps. If you don't get it stuck exactly right the first time, it does kind of help you get it off so you can wiggle it around into the right place. But if you just slide it right in on top of there and you get it done, push down, and then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Now, if you were going to decorate the inside of that beyond just the background paper, I would definitely do that before you put the acetate on there. But I'm not. I'm going to put all the decoration on the top because I love that paper and I want it to kind of shine through. Now I've got some mats and layers to go on those panels. Now, for some decoration, I love some of the dies that came with this. So the mask, I'm going to use that. I cut the background in the matte green and the front part in the bright green. Tape those on. Now you can see why I gutted that background paper, because I can use it for that. And this is going to be a birthday card, so I've got a nice happy birthday die. I like to run my cardstock through my little Xyron machine before I die cut it. So I have a little sticker maker, and just drop it in there, and I've had this forever. I don't even know if they make refills for it anymore, but I'm going to be really sad when I can't get them anymore because it's just that simple. and then the excess is. But then you can die cut it, and then you don't have to worry about trying to get glue or anything else, or run the little already die cut tiny little things through a Xyron machine, because once you die cut it, if you try to run it through the Xyron, it doesn't work so well because it's very fragile. So I'm getting all my stuff ready to die cut. So I'm gonna just kind of line it all up, and then I'll put it all on the plates at the same time. The other thing that I've got for decoration is these feathers. Also came with the collection. Love the feathers. And I've just got some scraps of paper. This actually came out of the inside of one of my inverted nesting dies. So it's kind of a nice. And we're just going to use my scraps. I think I'll do the big one out of the blue. I think it'll fit on there. Oh yeah. We'll tape that on. And then we've got some gold. Let's see if I can get both of them. I might be able to get both of these out of this piece. Let's give it a shot. Oh yeah. I always use pieces out of I save all my little scraps that I think are big enough for exactly this purpose. I have a little folder system in case I don't know if you're interested, but basically, let me grab it. So I have little folders like this. So this is my metallics folder, and then I sort them by color. So I have one for like purple, one for pinks, one for blues, one for blacks, whites, and all my little scraps go in there that are of any size. And then it makes it really easy to try and find scraps. When I want to die cut small pieces, it makes it just super easy. I just go into the color that I want and grab out pieces and see what fits. I was going to put this on my junior. I guess I put it on the junior plates. I'll just have to run multiple passes because it's not all going to fit on one pass on my junior. Now, before you start gluing anything down or anything, I usually try to place stuff so I know. I'm going to put my sentiment down here because it really shows up nice against that purple flower. And then I'm going to put my mask above it. I use I'm going to use my feathers, kind of decorate in and around the top of the mask, because that's kind of the way these masks look. I think I might have to put the feathers on first. They're sticking together. Maybe put this one more over that way. The top. I think I might just do that. I'm trying to decide if I even want to use this one. Yeah, I think something like that. Yeah, I like that. So once I've kind of got it decided where stuff is going to be, now you can start placing stuff down. You get this, since, as I said, I ran this through the Xyron, so you got to get that now, the little paper from the Xyron backing off. And you can usually get your pokey tool in between the two of them, layers, and then just kind of peel that backing off, and then your sentiment will be all sticky. Just like that. And then I think I'm going to put just a little bit of tacky glue in spots, just in the kind of the wide spots here, just in case. Oh, it's probably good. It's pretty sticky. Oh. It's the only bad thing about the Xyron is it gets so sticky that when you try to put it down, it sticks to your fingers. Okay. And now I'm going to use my Claw 3D glue gel to get these on there. So I'm going to take this off and start with the feathers. So I'm going to start with the blue one. And the nice thing about the glue gel is you can put it on there and lay it down, and then you got time to move it around if you decide that's not really where you wanted it. I'm also going to use the 3D glue gel on here. Just put some big old globules or whatever they call it. And it's going to go just like that. You can reach inside to kind of push down a little bit. And there we go. Yeah, I like that. I like how that came out. All right. Well, there you go. One fun way to use some really pretty paper and embellishments that you have. Very simple card, one piece of cardstock and some pattern paper. You can write your message on the back. Really nice. I like that. All right. Well, thanks for joining me. Enjoy your day.